Welcome everybody to another episode of The Summit. We've got a super exciting episode for everyone today. I've been hyped about it all week. There's going to be a lot of great conversations, a lot of interesting information that's going to come your way through this. I'm James McKittrick. I'm with Armando Deseri, a veteran of Alta West and the industry. How have you been, Armando?
Been fantastic. Just came back from MPC, which was a lot of fun. Got to see a lot of friends right coast to coast, and made some great connections, and got re-energized for the end of the year. So looking for a lot of questions. So we're going to answer some of those questions today.
We are here today with John Mercuri. I apologize if I haven't pronounced that right.
No, it's good, thanks.
President and broker of Premier Home Mortgage, and Monica Leggett, manager of Underwriting and Broker Services. Between the four of us, there's probably 60 years, if I exclude myself, 59 years of experience in this industry. And there's a lot of questions that I'm sure people would be very interested to hear from. So I just wanted to give you guys an opportunity right now just to introduce yourselves. Just tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about Premier and tell us why you're here today.
Sure. I guess I'll start. My name is John Mercuri. I'm the president and CEO of Premier Mortgage, as well as president and CEO of our mortgage investment corporation, Premier Canadian Mortgage Corp. As you've outlined, we are embarking on a very exciting collaboration under the Alta West banner. All of us at Premier Mortgage are super excited to be partnering with Alta West and are very much looking forward to what the future will bring. I know Monica will touch on this so well, but our team here is very excited, and the feedback we've had from our broker partners thus far has also been very enthusiastic, and they're looking forward to what the new opportunities will be with Premier Mortgage under the Alta West banner.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with what John already highlighted there. Just a little bit of history about me. I am Monica Leggett. I've been with Premier actually since 2004. My background started in Alberta, in the Alberta Credit Union system, and that's where I really picked up and learned all my fundamentals of lending. But what I really realized early on is that what I really wanted was the people side of things, the problem solving, the relationship building, and I was finding that was really hard to achieve in a really large institutional type lender. So when I found myself transitioning to BC, I realized that I wanted something that I could work more closely with the clients and with the brokers, and a smaller independent company, and that's ultimately how I found Premier and what brought me to where I am today.
And Armando, we touched on this collaboration. Could you tell us a little bit about the story of what's led us to being here today with these two vets?
And I think John will probably talk a little bit more about that, but I think it's almost beginning of 2025 when our CFO David Brar had preliminary discussions with John about maybe perhaps some collaborations, and I guess through the conversations things evolved, and here we are today, which is one of the things, a lot of the questions I got, especially at MPC, was why the acquisition? What does that mean for Alta West? What does it mean for brokers and so forth? And I think when I look back at both companies, it just made so much sense. We are kind of heavily based in Ontario, where Premier is more weighted on BC, where just the portfolios is a perfect mix. And then when you think about the portfolio, then you look at the underwriting aspect. There are things that we do that Premier doesn't do. For instance, we have a HELOC product. We have a broader spectrum appetite for second mortgages. Where Premier has predominantly first mortgages, but they would entertain more properties on the interior of BC and maybe a little bit smaller communities where Alta West doesn't have the appetite. So once again, they have this expertise in those areas that Alta West has been dabbling in, but not really have an expertise in those smaller communities and towns and so forth. So I think when you look at it overall, and then you take the also the experience that comes with it. Their team is they have a great team, and it's just merging into once we get the systems in place and so forth, it's something that we can just evolve and just achieve, take advantage of the economies of scale and just grow both portfolios with our technology that we have and some of the diversified funding that we have also that we can expose to the Premier brand. So a lot of great synergies. And what does that mean for brokers? I think for brokers, it just gives them more alternatives. The acquisition was announced September 1st, and I can tell you there was many deals that have been referred to Premier and vice versa. And I think that's what it does. It gives brokers options, and they don't have to go shopping around. If there's something that we can't do, we can refer to Premier and vice versa, and they have, and we can pretty much satisfy a lot of the needs of the brokers. So a lot of great things, and the future is only going to get brighter.
Well, I want to kind of extend that question to the two of you. If a broker were to ask you guys, okay, well, what does this acquisition mean for me? I've been working with Premier for a couple of years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever. What would you tell them? What would you say that this acquisition is gonna offer them?
This is going to provide a much greater suite of products to a broker, because in so many respects, although there's a little bit of overlap between what Premier Mortgage and Alta West would do independently, the collaboration of the two is going to provide a much more expanded suite of products for our broker partners to take advantage of. It really becomes a one-stop shop for brokers, whether they're in BC, Alberta, Ontario. The two products or the two product lines together are going to be able to provide brokers so much choice, many more options, and really it's going to give us as lenders to our broker partners a greater opportunity to say yes on more applications, which is going to streamline their business activities, make them more efficient, and we believe provide greater value not only to our broker partners but also our mortgage clients, because they're going to have more options and we're going to be able to convert more no's into yeses.
I think one of the reasons brokers have come back to Premier time and time again is how accessible and responsive Premier is. And I think to just layer a little bit on what Armando said there, our level of personal service, we take such great pride in that. Being able to now have this greater suite of products and refer them on to Alta West and recommend a higher loan to value second or this HELOC product, I think that's just going to really resonate with brokers and get them really excited about this collaboration and partnership. That's our ultimate aim, obviously.
It seems to me, in an industry like ours, that a real currency is trust. And if you build a reputation with the brokers where they can actually trust and rely on you, that the deal is committed, it's gonna fund, it's gonna go through. If they can come back and they can depend on you, that's a really serious thing. And then to me, I think that trust only comes from you guys have demonstrated you adhere to these values time and time again. But so I'll open up to the room. What would you say the importance of values as managers, as employees, as partners, values are in running a business?
Ultimately, I think it's the cornerstone of any successful business. You can't have longevity in any industry, let alone ours, unless you have a strong core sense of values and principles that you operate your business by. And those same principles apply to how you treat your customers, your broker partners, your team members. Trust, transparency, honesty. Those are all vital to a business, and always ensuring that we're doing our best. One principle that we live by, and very much Alta West does as well, is we want to ensure any client that we lend a mortgage to that they're in a better position at the end of the transaction than they are at the beginning. We want to make sure that their goals are met and that they have a clear path for what their future is, because ultimately the nature of our lending is to be a temporary resolution so that there's a clear exit strategy back to conventional financing or what have you within a year or two. So we want to make sure that we're helping our clients get to that, and by doing that we think we're also providing a valuable service to our broker partners so that they can do, achieve their goals as well. But again, just getting back to honesty, transparency, James, as you mentioned, if you issue a commitment, that commitment's going to go through. We say what we do. Your reputation is based on that, and ultimately that's how we continue to service our customers and borrowers and shareholders over the long term.
And I think, when you look at both companies, we do that every single day. When a commitment goes out, we're going to stick to it. As long as the conditions are filled, we're going to fund that deal. And we always are looking to get better and strive for excellence. And it's part of our logo, unlocking possibilities together. And that's with our broker partners, with our clients, with everybody that we touch when it comes to a client. We're doing it together and putting Canadians in homes and serve the underserved in Canada, and then giving back. One of our core values has always been giving back to communities, to charities, and that's the cornerstone of who we are, and that ties in very well with the Premier brand.
I don't think we can stress the importance of relationship building. It's been the core values of Premier, and our broker partner relationships are so important to us. I think if you take the time to build those relationships, that truly will become your legacy in this industry, and that's certainly something that Premier really prides ourselves on, is our reputation and our relationships.
Working with Alta West to come to this current result and our current collaboration, that there was one of the things that became so apparent as we went through the process right from the outset, was how similar our ways of thinking relative to all these key factors of what makes a business successful. It was just very, very positive, but not surprising that the more we talked, the more we aligned on so many principles relative to how we do business and how we treat our clients, and the priority that we put on our broker partners and our investors. And that was really heartening as this process progressed.
How have you felt the industry has changed?
Well, really, when I started, the business was much simpler. It was a much smaller segment of the overall marketplace. Sort of mixed, didn't have the same presence that they do today. 25 years ago, the bulk of private mortgage funding was done by individual lender investors. But over time, the business and the industry has become, has certainly grown exponentially, but it's certainly become much more sophisticated, much more complex, both from a regulatory standpoint, from a business development standpoint, to where the private mortgage space has certainly grown and evolved to be a major player within the entire industry. And certainly provides a much greater opportunity for mortgage borrowers, folks that don't fall into the traditional banking mortgage criteria. There's significantly more opportunity for those individuals, and for our broker partners provides them a much larger business opportunity than they would have had 25 years ago when I started.
Yeah, I would agree with everything John said. I mean, when I joined in 2004, we were basically managing a $4 million fund. Everything at that time was very hands-on, very grassroots. We knew every investor, every broker deal that came in. We would literally sit around a round table and discuss the nuances of that. And we all had to wear many hats. We were collection officers, we were underwriters, as John still says today, janitors. We had to do all aspects of the business. So over the years, we've grown significantly, but not just in terms of volume and capital, in the sophistication of our products and the strength of our infrastructure. And as John said, private lending used to be the last resort for a lot of options, and now I really think we're recognized as a key part of every broker's toolkit, and I think Premier has really played a really large role in shaping that shift in the industry.
Where do you feel this industry is headed over the next 10, 20 years? Because it sounds like it's pretty different over the last 20?
The industry is going to continue to grow. It's going to continue to become more dynamic. It's going to become a greater and greater segment of the overall mortgage marketplace within Canada. And I think its importance is going to increase as well because the population in Canada is evolving. We have more and more individuals that are either self-employed or in non-traditional income streams that our type of mortgage product and offering is going to be vital to meeting those individuals' goals, what their financial needs are, but also the greater impact on the overall economy that having access to this type of mortgage product and capital is going to help really improve people's lives, business opportunities, and help really in many respects the overall economy.
Yeah, the Canadian market right now is really just full of opportunities. I just see it as, especially for brokers who really understand how to adapt to this changing market. Brokers are, as John said, more and more falling outside of the traditional bank space, and that's just opening up private and alternative lending options for those tough deals that can't be placed anywhere else. And I think the brokers that are realizing that early on, and those are the ones that are going to step up and grow their business the fastest and really succeed in this industry despite good or bad market.
There has been a maturity that's happening within the space, which is 100%. And if you look at even in the last 6 years, the mortgage private space went from under 2% of the overall mortgage industry, now probably north of it's now north of 9 to 10, almost 10% of the overall mortgage space. And that's going to continue to grow as more regulatory pressures come into the mortgage industry. And I think it's more predominantly to the B banks, where the alternative lenders, we're going to continue to see that trickle-down effect coming into our space, which means more opportunities for us, and having the scale and system and the diversified funding that we have, we can capture a lot of that market share.
The most successful lenders are the ones who are able to paint the picture of the person behind the numbers, and get a sense of who the individual is beyond the credit bureau, that can really find the story there and figure out a creative way to get around it. Because it seems to me one of the things that Alta West and Premier both have in common is this kind of custom, almost like a bespoke tailor approach, where it's not everything off the rack. It's not just, okay, put it on and get out of here. It's, what are your measurements? What's your the length of your arm? We're gonna stitch this, and we're gonna make, this beautiful jacket. We're gonna make it fit you. And would you guys agree that that's one of the things that you two have in common as businesses, but that's really contributed to your success?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I say every day, every deal is a Picasso. You cannot replicate it. And it's true. Every situation we get, we get deals where some of our cookie cutters, but then some we're tagging properties in Alberta, BC, to do a deal in Ontario. Like every deal is different, and that's the beauty of our space, is that we have the flexibility, and we do have, and we can put some creativity when we're doing a deal, and to make.
Yeah, I think it's really key. One of the benefits of our respective structures is that our focus really is problem solving for our borrowers to achieve what their needs and goals are, to also assist our broker partners to see how potentially they're looking at a file in one direction that may not necessarily be a fit, but as Armando alluded to, there's ways that we can look to help them structure that proposal that will allow the client to get what they need, help the broker close and solidify their sale and their business relationship with that client, and it just allows us to be able to be of greater value to those stakeholders throughout these processes.
Yeah, I mean, private lenders, of course, we're all about equity and flexibility, but we want to always maintain that personal personalized approach with the brokers. We have such a great pool of resources, but the personalized service, the one-on-one deals, every deal is unique, like Armando said. Every deal is a Picasso, and that's the beauty of being in private lending versus institutional lending. Is it's trying to fit that square into the round hole, and that's where our genius is.
What's your 60-second pitch on Premier? What do you do best?
Premier's expertise and genius, as Monica put it, has always lied in our ability to provide a product that will fit most scenarios. We can lend in the urban areas, but we also specialize in small town properties and locations, farms, vacation properties, rural properties, land only, mobile homes on land. So we can provide a very broad spectrum. Approvals are all in-house. You're speaking to the lender as well as the underwriter and broker, and we can provide flexibility with our product offerings. And in our world, there's black and white, but there's a lot of gray. So if we need to be creative to put a deal together, we can certainly provide that.
Thank you so much for being generous with your time and coming on here and giving us your 20 cents on things that are going on. So thank you very much.
Well, thanks for being
much.
kind to us newbies too.
Yeah,
You made it easy.
we very much appreciate the opportunity.